In the world of technology, a seismic shift has occurred, one that is redefining the very foundations of our digital lives. Huawei, once a global smartphone titan and a close Google partner, has been forced to forge its own path after being cut off from the world's most popular mobile services. This isn't just corporate drama, it's a geopolitical saga with consequences for anyone who owns a smartphone, no matter where they live or travel. The digital landscape, once dominated by American tech giants, is fracturing before our eyes as new players and new alliances emerge. A new force is rising in Shenzhen, not Silicon Valley, a city now pulsing with innovation and ambition. The split between Huawei and Google is a critical chapter in the ongoing US-China tech rivalry, a contest that's shaping the future of global technology. What began as a US government action to protect national security has unexpectedly sparked the creation of a powerful independent tech ecosystem in China. Harmony OS, once considered merely a backup plan, now directly challenges the Android and iOS duopoly, offering a new vision for connected devices. The effects ripple worldwide, impacting not just Chinese consumers, but developers, businesses, and economies across the globe. Are we heading toward two separate, competing internets, one led by the West, the other by China? The question is more urgent than ever. When Google's services vanished from Huawei devices, many predicted the company's demise and a collapse of its global ambitions. Instead, Huawei responded by building a parallel universe of software, hardware, and services. An ecosystem designed to thrive independently. The company has not only survived but fortified its position at home, becoming nearly impervious to US sanctions and growing stronger in the face of adversity. This is the story of how one company's struggle is reshaping our digital future, and why the choices made today will echo for generations to come. The roots of this conflict run deep, stretching back decades to a time when global power was defined by who controlled the world's most advanced technology. The US and China, two giants on the world stage, have long been locked in a struggle for technological dominance, and the story of Huawei sits at the very heart of this rivalry. US officials have for years voiced concerns about Huawei's alleged ties to the Chinese government, warning that its telecom equipment could be used for espionage or cyber attacks. These suspicions only grew as Huawei's influence expanded and the stakes became higher with each new technological leap. As 5G networks began to spread rapidly across the globe, the question of who would supply the backbone of this new digital era became urgent. The world was on the brink of a technological revolution, and control over 5G infrastructure meant control over the future of communication, commerce, and even national security. In May 2019, the US government took a decisive step, placing Huawei on its entity list. This move effectively banned American companies from supplying Huawei with critical technology and components without special licenses, sending shockwaves through the global tech industry. The official reasons were clear: national security concerns, alleged violations of US sanctions, and deep unease over Huawei's central role in advancing China's technological ambitions. For Washington, the risk was simply too great to ignore. This move was not just about one company. It was part of a much broader US strategy to counter China's rapid rise in high-tech industries, from artificial intelligence to advanced manufacturing, and to maintain America's edge in global innovation. The message to US allies was unmistakable. Using Huawei's equipment posed an unmitigable security threat, one that could compromise sensitive data and critical infrastructure worldwide. US officials pointed to Chinese law, arguing it could compel companies like Huawei to cooperate with state intelligence agencies, whether they wanted to or not. Huawei, for its part, has consistently denied these claims, insisting it operates independently and would never spy for any government, Chinese or otherwise. Despite these denials, the blacklisting triggered a chain reaction, disrupting supply chains, rattling markets, and forcing companies around the world to rethink their partnerships and strategies. The US aimed to cripple Huawei's global ambitions by cutting it off from American innovation, talent, and technology, tools that had helped fuel its meteoric rise. The entity list quickly became Washington's weapon of choice, a powerful tool to limit China's access to the world's most advanced tech. But this pressure also sparked something unexpected: Huawei's audacious plan for technological independence, a bold effort to develop its own chips, software, and supply chains. The world watched as a new era of tech rivalry took shape, with nations and companies forced to pick sides in a rapidly shifting landscape. The stage was set for a dramatic transformation, one that would redefine the future of technology, global power, and the very nature of international competition. For smartphone makers outside China, Google is absolutely essential. Its suite of apps and services, Gmail, YouTube, Maps, and the Play Store, are the backbone of the modern smartphone experience for billions of users worldwide. The US government's entity list forced Google to abruptly cut ties with Huawei, suspending all business overnight and sending shockwaves through the tech industry. Suddenly, new Huawei devices lost access to Google mobile services. That meant no Gmail, no YouTube, no Maps, and no Play Store. Core apps that most users rely on every day. Without these essential services, a smartphone becomes nearly useless for most global consumers. The device is stripped of its familiar ecosystem, leaving users frustrated and disconnected. The impact was immediate and devastating. New Huawei phones outside China were effectively dead on arrival, unable to compete in international markets. In China, where Google had already been blocked for years, the loss barely registered. Chinese users had long relied on homegrown apps and alternatives, but for Huawei's global ambitions, the consequences were catastrophic. The company's dreams of dominating international markets were suddenly in jeopardy. The ban was a software problem, not a hardware one, imposed by geopolitics, not by technical failure. It was a digital blockade enforced by international policy. Hopes for a resolution flickered and died. Google confirmed the ban would remain in place, dashing any optimism for a quick fix. The US only tightened restrictions further, revoking chip supply licenses in 2024 and making Huawei's situation even more dire. The message was clear: there would be no reprieve, no turning back, and no second chances for Huawei. Huawei's digital umbilical cord to Google was permanently severed, leaving the company isolated from the world's most popular mobile ecosystem. The company faced an existential crisis, with its future hanging in the balance and employees uncertain about what would come next. But instead of folding under pressure, Huawei pivoted, determined to survive and adapt in a rapidly changing world. The stage was set for a new digital kingdom, one that would be built on innovation, resilience, and a vision for the future beyond Google. Huawei responded with an audacious pivot, building its own ecosystem from scratch. HarmonyOS, first unveiled in 2019, was designed to replace Android and connect all devices seamlessly. By late 2025, HarmonyOS Next marked a complete break from Android. Huawei also built its own App Store, mapping, and search services, onboarding thousands of apps. The company overhauled its supply chain, replacing over 13,000 US-sourced components. By August 2025, Huawei had achieved near total self-sufficiency. The transformation was a testament to its engineering might. Huawei's digital fortress was now a reality. By early 2026, Huawei had not just survived, it had been reborn. HarmonyOS now runs on nearly 1 billion devices, breaking the Android-iOS duopoly. The launch of HarmonyOS Next forced China's app developers to commit to Huawei's platform. After losing its chip design unit, Huawei staged a comeback with domestically made Kirin processors. HiSilicon's market share rebounded, signaling China's rapid progress in semiconductors. Huawei reclaimed the top spot in China's smartphone market. Domestic revenue soared, funding massive R&D in AI and 5G. US restrictions only pushed Huawei to accelerate self-reliance. Microsoft's Windows license expired, so Huawei shipped laptops with HarmonyOS. Every US move to isolate Huawei made it stronger at home. Huawei now anchors a robust, non-American tech stack. The Huawei-Google split sent shockwaves through the global smartphone market. Huawei's market share outside China collapsed, creating a vacuum in the premium Android segment. Chinese brands like Xiaomi and Oppo and Samsung quickly filled the gap. The result, a more fragmented, competitive market, but Huawei is now a niche player abroad. The conflict disrupted global supply chains, prompting countries to rethink tech dependencies. The push for tech sovereignty is gaining momentum, but at the cost of higher prices and slower innovation. US tech firms lost billions in sales to Huawei, impacting their R&D budgets. Qualcomm and others saw their China market shrink. The policy meant to hobble Huawei also hurt American tech. The global tech landscape is forever changed. Inside China, Huawei became a national champion, fueled by patriotic consumerism. The absence of Google services was irrelevant, local apps dominated. Huawei doubled down on retail, marketing and partnerships, reclaiming the top spot in China. China became Huawei's fortress, funding its global ambitions in other sectors. Outside China, Huawei's phones struggled. Google's absence was a deal-breaker for most consumers. Despite hardware excellence, the software barrier proved too high for mainstream users. Huawei shifted its international focus to wearables and laptops. The contrast: domestic dominance, international struggle. Experts agree, the US strategy curbed Huawei's global reach but accelerated China's tech self-reliance. The result: a fractured digital world, or splinternet, with two competing tech ecosystems. The US policy pushed China to double down on indigenous innovation. Now, there's less global interoperability and more complexity for businesses and consumers. Other nations are investing in their own tech to reduce dependency on Silicon Valley. European countries restricting Huawei's 5G have faced higher costs and delays. The ban hurt Huawei in the short term but made it a more resilient competitor. Huawei now offers a complete alternative, from chips to operating systems. The US tried to kneecap a rival but taught it to run a marathon. The world is still grappling with the consequences. We've reached a pivotal moment in tech history. Huawei's split from Google is now the blueprint for a new digital order. Harmony OS is a real force, proving Silicon Valley's dominance isn't absolute. The global market is permanently altered, with new opportunities and losses on both sides. The digital divide is now geopolitical. On one side, Google and Apple. On the other, Huawei and China. This split challenges global standards and complicates life for developers and consumers. The era of a unified global tech platform is over. The competition between these ecosystems will define the future of innovation and communication. The next chapters will be written in code, and the world will be watching. Oberstans, Barbers.